Welcome back to the channel. This is Punched, and we talk about war games here, hex and counter for the most part. So what we're looking at here is we are looking at a game called Normandy 44 by GMT Games with designer Mark Simonich. And in particular, we're looking at a representation of that game in a tool, in a program called Vassal. So Vassal allows you to have a digital tabletop, if you will, for a war game. So we can see the map, and I can zoom in and out freely. And so this is the entire, basically a scan of the entire map, and you can see various counters and markers here to record game state and such, and the battle as it is going on. So let me give you the quick tour on this thing. We are, let's start off up here. We're on turn 3. So I don't know if you can see that little red thing. We're on turn 3 up here in the turn record track. We've got certain kinds of supply points represented here for the Americans, for the Commonwealth, and for the Germans, and various kinds of replacement steps available. So we have the weather table. The weather on turn 3 has turned out to be what's called overcast 3, which has certain implications up here for the amount of supply that the Germans get. Generally, the worse that the weather is, the better it is for the Germans, and the better the weather, the worse it is for the Germans. So we're kind of in the middle right now. And we can see all the beaches here. We have Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juneau, and Sword. And quite a situation going on here with the Germans have brought in and done some pretty effective counterattacking in the Caen area. I'm going to wipe all the counters and markers off the map for a moment so we can just see the terrain. So we have Caen here, Bayeux, Carentan, St. Mary Glace. So those are all locations that are fairly important early on. And here, let's zoom in on this. I think we can do that. Oh, let it catch up. Here, of course, is Pont de Hoc. So we've got a fair amount of things going on here. I'll put the units back. And you note that I've marked everything up here. So let me do a little bit further walkthrough here after we segment. Okay, in this segment we're going to do a couple things. We're going to talk about some of what we're seeing on the screen here as it relates to the game, and we'll actually conduct a combat or two. So this is the broad scope of things, and I think that we will come over here and zero in on what's going on at Utah Beach. So I can tell you that in turn 2 the Germans were attacking this location. Hopefully y'all can see that. They were continuing to push the 82nd Airborne off their drop zones to the west of the Murderay River, this river right here, and they caused some casualties. At the same time, they were attempting to attack out of St. Mary Glace and took some casualties of their own. So this is St. Mary Glace. So in this turn, the U.S. wound up taking putting a replacement into this this regiment of the 82nd Airborne, which unfortunately means it can't really go anywhere and cannot engage in combat. There was some further reshuffling around of various troops. And let's see, these regroup symbols are sitting on top of units that came ashore this turn. So when you come ashore, when you receive a replacement ashore, then for that turn they have to have a regroup symbol on them. It comes off at the end of our allied turn, which is nice, but they're only attacking at half strength, and they can only move 2 hexes, one of which must be the beach. So you can see we've got a light armor battalion that's come up here, and we have a regular a battalion of medium tanks right here. And so I decided that for the Utah sector I really needed some more armor in place, as I only had the one functioning armor unit at this point. So really what we're doing here is mostly hunkering down defensively, but as you can see from these odds markers, which I will point out here, this 3-1 and the 4-1 right here, we are doing some minor attacks just to keep the momentum up and to kind of enlarge the beachhead. So what we're doing here is we have a 2 to 3 attack, and I'll pop up a chart. So let me digress for a moment. When you're playing Vassal, you have access to all the units in the game. You have access to the markers. Bear with me, they come up off screen. So all the markers that you need, so you can put a marker on the map wherever you need to. If you do something that you don't like, there is a handy button up here near the menu that you can do an undo on it. So that's very nice. Let's see, combat, you can, off screen again, you can basically indicate, for example, odds. You can apply a letter, which is useful because you can refer to this in the log, which I will demonstrate shortly. You can apply artillery, which is just simply that, and you can also do arrows in case you want to say, well, I've got units coming from here and I've got units coming from here. I don't, of course, and they are the ones attacking here. And then you could say something like, in this area right up here near the top of the screen, this is a log area, but it's also capable of doing chat. Normally when you're doing a play by email, or even when you're playing head-to-head online, right, which means that you're both online, you can say, hi there. Inspired, right? But I could say something like attack C, 20 to 4, or 5 to 1 odds. Artillery makes it 6 to 1, which, by the way, that's a thing. So you just run straight up odds, and artillery, air, if you look down here in this area to the middle lower screen, that is tactical air, and also naval gunfire support. So each of these is going to give you a right shift on the combat results table, which again came up off screen. So in this case we were talking about 5 to 1 odds right here. Hopefully you can see the cursor bouncing up and down, and we go to actually no, we went to 4 to 1 odds, and we get the artillery shift 5 to 1. So we'll come back to this sort of thing. Let me remove this stuff. Delete. You can delete everything out. Delete and delete, and also this guy, delete. All right. Additionally, let's see, when you want to do, you can do the setup cards, which is nice. So for example, again, off screen, what is it with the off screen? This allows you to bring units onto the board, right? So most of your forces do not start on the beaches. Your objective, one of your objectives for the D-Day invasion, is to hold the beaches, expand the bridgehead, and then, as you can, bring on additional forces. So let me explain. So let's take, can I do this? Yeah. Let's take this guy. He's a 1 reinforcement point unit. We'll ignore reinforcement points. Just say you get a certain budget, right? 6 reinforcement points for the US per turn. Well, suppose I want to use one of them. I can do this, right? And now he is on the board, and I mark him regroup, just like these other guys here, right? These guys and these guys. That is the mechanism for doing it. And if I have room and desire to do so, I could then move him off along with his regroup counter. So that's what we've got going on here. Of course, I'm going to undo these things. Undo, 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 undo again. Can I undo that? I can undo that. Great. And he appears back up here. These are all counters, right? And so that's a common mechanism in Vassal for bringing in reinforcements. You'll note that the Germans have their own reinforcement card, very well laid out. It is literally the card that you get with the game, right? The Normandy 44 game has a card that looks exactly like this. Somebody took a scan of it or got a JPEG file, that's fine, an original, and they figured out, where to get all the units, basically put all the units on it, and it's great. As you can see, we've already taken the turn 2 units, we've already taken the turn 3 units, as this is turn 3, and the Germans continue to get quite a bit of force coming on to the board up until about, it's consecutive up until turn 10, and then it starts kind of going in fits and spurts, dribs and drabs. So, all right, well, let's actually run a combat here. Let's start off with this guy right up here. So this is a battalion of infantry, and it's from the 243rd Infantry. Let's see, can I go even further? Nope, that's it. And it's worth 2 points. It has, the 2 is combat points, the 3 is movement points, the -1 is troop quality. So in turn, I have my guys. I'm going to hover. Hopefully that shows up for a minute or two. I have 2 regiments of the 2nd Infantry Division. Both have taken casualties, but they're still fairly stout. I have a grand total of 9 points available because this fella is only at half strength due to the regroup. Okay, so I have 9. Now, let's talk about terrain. Of course, this is a game effect. They are in a mixed hex, so we're talking about, hold on, about this hex. Let's see, yeah, this hex right here. Okay, and it is a mixed hex. It's got a flooded hex side, but that is not in play. We are not attacking across it. It is in what is called a mixed hex. That's the stipple pattern right here. And the mixed hex gives you what's called 2 DCB. That is 2 defensive combat bonus. And what that does is it says, okay, I've got 2, and I can add 2 more, so my total combat factors in here are 4. All right, so I have 9 to 4. So let's do this. 9 to 4, or 2 to 1 odds. So, but I also get an armor shift. Armor shift, be it ever so humble. That light tank unit gives me a shift, which takes us to 3 to 1 odds. And further, the highest troop quality unit in my attacking force is this fella. It's a 0, right? And that is higher than the troop quality of the defender. So that gives me a troop quality shift. So TQ, which gives me the 4 to 1. Okay, let's roll dice. There's a dice rolling mechanism. There's nothing that prevents you from actually dropping your own dice, but this is useful because you can do it in a play-by-email format where all of this information up here is logged and available to your opponent. You start your turn, you load up the game to the save state. You start a log file. That would be begin log file, right? You're doing all of your things here. You might talk about some things like this, and you'll do die rolls, and they can see exactly what you're doing and undoing and so on. This, right below the tools menu here in the upper right corner, there is a play button. That allows you to step forward one thing at a time through the log file. So it's a great support for play by email. I've been using it in another version of this game to actually play. So let us take a look at the combat results table. We are at 4 to 1 and the Allies have rolled a 4. That is an A1, D1. So each side loses 1 step. The attacker's step must come from his main attacking force, which happens to be these guys. So I have to lose a step. Not great. This guy loses a step, and he only had 1 step in the first place. He's only a battalion. So send a cadre box. Let's see. Surviving defenders are gone. If the defender retreats, they become disrupted, not in play. The attacker may advance after combat. All right. I'm going to advance after combat. Now, interesting thing here. You notice that. Hold on. Let me undo that. That's odd. Well, let's just do it. So this tank unit right here, he actually was regrouping, but because of the advance after combat, he gets to move a bit more. So that's kind of nice. And that is that. So that's what we're talking about here. Notice that I can do a control mouse wheel and zoom in or out here on the notes, which is good. I can do the same thing on the map. Obviously, we've done that a bit here too. So I'll do one more combat, and then we will close out this segment, and that should do just fine. So I'm going to do this attack down here, and we are attacking. I'll move these guys off for convenience. We're attacking these 6th Fallschirmjäger, so we're attacking the German paratrooper. They are in bocage, that gives them a 3. They are 10. So we are attacking with these forces, which gives me a 1-on-1. So 12 to 10, or 1-to-1. Now, I've also applied naval gunfire support. So NGS gives me a 2-to-1, and tactical air gives me air gives me 3-to-1, right? So that's what we're talking about up here. It's strange I can't do that, but anyway, we're talking about that up in the chat area, which, by the way, is, you can make it larger or smaller. You can also pop down these different things here. Right, so let's go ahead and conduct the combat. So it's a 3-to-1 combat. We'll bring up the combat results table and roll the die. We have a 4. So a 4 is a defender retreat result. That's good. The defender must either retreat or conduct a determined defense. So take these. Nope. Let's flip. He's used and return to the air box. Let's flip and return to the naval box. So these guys, where they are at the moment, this is the lay of the land. They're kind of the cork in the bottle preventing U.S. forces coming from Utah Beach to get to Carentan. Carentan is a fairly critical little town. It's a choke point, and this hex here is the choke point to the choke point, if you will. So let's put the units back. Do I want to do a determined defense? The determined defense is over here on this table, and what it means is if he were to happen, he's going to get TQ. He's going to get a +1 TQ because his troop quality is higher than mine. So that gives him a +1 on his die roll, which means that a 4, 5, or 6 are significant. 50-50. Ah, heck, I'm going to go for it. Okay, here is the die roll for this. He rolled a 5, which comes up to a 6, and a 6 is an exchange. On an exchange, he gets to choose one of my forces to lose a step. There's really nothing to choose for. They're both duplicate units. And I get to choose one of his units to lose a step. Guess which one I'm going to choose. There we go. Well, it's interesting. Let me gain that step back. See, if I did this, he's gone. So he's entirely gone. Tricky. that takes one of his units out. Whereas if I lose a step here, he's down by as many factors, but it's 2 units. But it's 3. I rather like this. I'm going to go with this one. So that's it, and he did not retreat. Okay, so that's what the determined defense does. Now, had he rolled anything that gave one of these dash symbols over here, that would have been a 1, a 2, or a 3 in this particular instance, he would have had to conduct the retreat anyway. So that's it. That's 2 examples of combat, and as you can see, this game is fully functional. It gives you everything that the normal board game gives you. It has all the functions. It has the full map. You can move things around as you want, moving the turn here. It's great, and I've had the Normandy 44 game now for I think I first really got into the game and with the thought of playing it about 2 weeks ago. I have yet to put counters on map. There's been no particular need for it because I'm using Normandy 44. Now I'll use the game itself, the physical game. I'll use it at conventions and stuff and such. I'll use it for face-to-face encounters. But I can tell you right now, I have one gaming table. I have a 1 map table, and I've got a different game on it. That's the Guderian Crosses the Meuse game. So, and someday, I think Guderian Crosses the Meuse is going to have its own Vassal module. We shall see. So that's pretty much all I have to do in this segment. I think we will have another segment with a slightly different topic. No. I think we'll just wrap it up here. Let's wrap it up here, and hope you liked the video. This was just an introduction to Normandy 44 gameplay using Vassal as the medium, if you will. And I quite like both the game and the gameplay. It gives you a feel for what was going on in Normandy, the desperation on both sides, the factors on both sides, and so on. Without the game system being so heavyweight that you really lose sight of the forest for the trees. I'm really quite pleased with this. As you can see, in the British sector, things are a bit more interesting for them. We have the 12th SS Panzer, we have the 21st Panzer Division are present, along with some Panther tanks, and they are very threatening. But the British have the British and the Canadians, they have quite a bit of force in this area, and I think that they will ultimately win out. We shall see. They're going to do a bunch of attacks and hopefully throw some of these guys back, push them back a bit. And we've got the only one attack over here in the Omaha sector, and that's fine. We can bring more troops on through Omaha. Note right here, this is a mulberry. Let me do this. Once the mulberries go in, right here, it will be quite a bit easier to bring troops on than they are now. We'll be able to bring on more troops, or at least more supply than previous, and we can trade supply for additional reinforcement points. But I'm going to move this guy back. Oh, that's big. I'm going to move this guy back because he can't really be there right now. Hold on, I'll put him here and then back here. There we go. So as you can see, we secured the necessary locations, that is to say the beach at Omaha and Arromanches. I have no idea what it's called. Arromanches-les-Bains, something like that. We secured those on day 1, and that started a 5-day period for construction of the mulberries, which are artificial harbors that were created in the British sector and located at Omaha Beach in order to improve the logistics and basically provide temporary docks to bring on additional forces. So we are getting close, getting closer, right? 3 more turns, and we will have the mulberry complete and available, and I look forward to seeing what happens then. All right, so that's it. We'll continue playing this game. I don't know how many more videos I will do on it. Yeah, I don't know how many more videos I will do on it. This is sort of it's a side quest, if you will, right now. My primary is Armored Knights Guderian crosses the Muse, whatever. And I have some other things, some other irons in the fire. I will continue playing this, I guess, until I have roughly finished the game. And I'm playing another one at the same time versus a human opponent. And hope to wrap those up around mid to late December, the way things are going. At which point I'm going to get Inflection Point. That is the MMP, Multi-Man Publishing title, in their Battalion Combat series called Inflection Point, because I am also playing that game at a conference event coming up in January, face-to-face. Who knew? And I will be doing that using a Vassal module. So that's going to be fun. Anyway, hope you liked it. Hit the like button if you please. Feel free to leave your comments below, and they could be comments on anything. What you see on the screen, what you think of Vassal, Normandy 44. How am I doing? Happy to hear that as well. And constructive criticism always welcome. So thanks very much, and we'll see you down the road.